All right, good evening and welcome to the December 17th meeting of the Hickory City Council. At this time, I would like to ask the Reverend Christy Laura Sapp from St. Andrew's Lutheran Church to the podium for our invocation. I would ask that if you're able to please stand for the invocation and remain standing after the invocation for the Pledge of Allegiance. Reverend Sapp, thank you for being here this afternoon.
In the spirit of the season, I offer a prayer from a hymn. Let us pray. O come, O wisdom from on high, embracing all things far and nigh. In strength and beauty, come and stay. Teach us your will and guide our way. May we all rejoice in the work you set before us and celebrate your presence with us, O Lord, this night and always. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome Ms. Belle Setzer. She's here this evening. Our attorney, Tim Swanson, wasn't able to be here with us this evening, so she's filling in as our associate attorney. And we'd just like to welcome her to this evening's meeting. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Let's see. We have a special presentation that's on the agenda first up this morning. So at this time, I'll call upon, let's see, I guess,
you're going to just call them directly.
Okay. All right. Annette Richards is going to recognize Brandon Harris, a crew leader from Public Works and Parks and Public Utilities.
First of all, thank y'all for allowing me this time to honor Brandon. We've been working with Brandon for several years, and he's one of those workers that goes above and beyond what he's expected. We can rely on him. He's very dependable, very trustworthy, really resilient, I'll say that word, because he knows what we expect at our ball tournaments, and he makes sure that that happens for us on a every weekend basis, pretty much, because we see him every weekend. And we take him away from his wife and his family quite a bit on Saturdays, but we really do appreciate him on our Saturdays that he's there. In this day and time, so many people just do the bare minimum for their job. Very bare minimum. They do what they're expected. If this is their job description, that's what they do. So we're giving Brandon the 110% award. Brandon Harris, in appreciation for your time, effort, and dedication given to SNA Sports in North Carolina, NSA, we present you with this award and thank you for what you do.
Get a picture. You guys got to go back up there. They want a picture.
Yeah. Got to have a record. Visual. What you say, no picture.
Wait a minute. They didn't get it.
Yeah. More photographers in the crowd.
Everybody's a photographer. Right. Well, Annette, on behalf of the City Council, thank you for taking this opportunity to recognize Brandon, of course, and for all of his hard work and for going beyond what's expected. We have a lot of our folks that do that, but that's another example of it, and we appreciate you taking the time and the opportunity to recognize that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Everybody get pictures that wanted them? All right. All right, we always allow an opportunity at the beginning of every council meeting for anyone who would like to address the council. So we'll certainly do that again this evening. So if you would like to address the council regarding any matter, this would be your opportunity to do so. We just ask that you approach the podium and that you state your name and address and that you limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. So at this time, I'll ask if there's anyone present that would like to address the council this evening. All right, there doesn't appear to be anyone that would like to address the council this evening. You always have that opportunity to be able to do that, and we make ourselves available at other times as well. At this time, I'll ask for discussion or motion regarding approval of the minutes from our regular meeting of December the 3rd.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion. We have a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. That motion carries unanimously. Item number 7 is our reaffirmation ratification on second readings. Once again, I'll entertain any discussion or motion.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. That also carries unanimously. Item number 8 is our consent agenda. I'll ask if there's any member of staff or council that would like to have any item removed from the consent agenda.
Move approval of the consent
Second.
agenda.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? That carries unanimously. We're down to new business. We have 4 public hearings this evening, I believe. So to introduce our first public hearing, I'll turn it over to our city manager, Mr. Warren Wood.
Thank you, Mayor Guest, members of City Council, Ms. Setzer. The first public hearing tonight is consideration of proposed amendments to Part 3 of the Hickory City Code of Ordinance, Chapter 2, the aircraft and airports, and approval of rules and regulations that will be presented by Airport Manager Chad Hunsucker.
Mayor Guest, members of council, Mr. Wood, Ms. Setzer, good evening. Tonight I come to you for a proposal to make changes to the current code of ordinance as it pertains to airports. This is to remain in compliance with federal grant assurances. 2 particular items I'll be discussing this evening is height restrictions, FAR Part 77 as it's referred to, and land use zoning as it surrounds airports. And the other one is airport minimum operating standards and rules and regulations. There is one added amendment, a chapter to this amendment, and it's for mobile service providers. Our current code of ordinance already addresses fixed base operators that provide aeronautical services out of the airport. Something that airports have started to notice over the past couple of years is what we refer to as pickup truck mechanics. So they're otherwise known as mobile service providers. They are licensed aircraft mechanics that are coming on airports. Some of them are jobs as simple as like doing aircraft detailing, stuff like that. And they're not having to obtain the same permits that like a fixed base operator was or would be. Our fixed base operators enter into commercial use permits with the city to perform that service out of the airport. A mobile service provider can come onto the airport pretty much untethered, at the request of an aircraft owner to have their aircraft worked on, and there's no permitting process. So the airport doesn't have visibility to insurance, whether they hold the specific FAA licensing to do that type of work. So we're wanting to add this section in here. A lot of other airports are doing this right here. It's just another added layer of protection, and it continues to provide a fair and equitable system at the airport, so we treat everybody the same way. That's the only new addition. The rest of the amendments are just administrative in nature, most notably for how permitting works for notice of construction near an airport. We wanted to add the section that all proposed construction would have to go through the FAA's 7460, which is a notice of construction. And what that does is a contractor would simply submit this, and it's an easy way for them to determine whether that structure falls within the lateral limits of the approach zones of an airport and poses a hazard to aviation. So that's kind of the first step, whether we even want to go further in issuing the permit to the applicant. Secondly, the current ordinance uses the word building inspector throughout as the person that administers the permitting for properties adjacent to the airport, and that position really no longer applies, and it's going to be the gentleman that's going to come after me, Mr. Frazier. We just replaced everywhere where it said building inspector with planning director. Just makes sense. All permits have to go through that office anyway. In the current code, it states that I, the airport manager, shall promulgate rules and regulations. So what these rules and regulations are It's basically a standard operating procedure, just a booklet on how the airport operates day in and day out. So whether they're base customers or they're transient customers, or for my employees, we all know what rules apply to the airport so we can safely and efficiently operate it. So with that being said, over the past year, we have come up with the document, and it includes things like vehicle operations, how we do fueling, and that's mainly self-fueling, which we do allow at the airport. Rules for tenants, although there are certain rules that's contained within their lease agreements or commercial use permits, these are rules that are that fall outside of that. Aircraft operations, how we charge fees or conduct fees and charges at the airport. That's actually a subject that's been brought up several times over the last year about, can you do a deal? Instead of just saying this is how we do charges and fees here at the airport. So anyway, just to give you a little insight to some things that go on. It also goes over special events. People request to hold events out at the airport, what they can and can't do, and how we conduct those. And it also, something that's been in the limelight here recently is security, as we continue to work on our bolstering our security upgrades at the airport. So with that, I'll leave you with any questions you might have.
How many operators are being used out at the airport currently for these, not transient, but what?
The mobile service
The mobile
providers.
services.
So I would say we're lucky at this point. Throughout the first year I've been here, I've probably seen a half dozen. That's the ones I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they, can come on the airport because they can be escorted by the aircraft owner. So I would say about a half dozen, and we're lucky. I know that Statesville Regional Airport has an issue with it right now. So I would like to think that we're getting ahead of the problem, and it's really just a vetting process.
So a preemptive policy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. First, thank you for what you've done in the past year. You've been here a year, right? About
In
close.
2 weeks.
Yeah. So thank you for all the work you've done at the airport. It's you've made a lot of progress out there. My question is that we're introducing with the airport museum another publicly accessible element to the airport, and throughout the rules and regulations document, it references airport property, and specifically, I want to understand how those rules will apply to the museum, and I have an example. So item 3.4 in the rules and regulations deals with you can't consume alcoholic beverages on the airport property. And there might be a restaurant element to the airport museum. Is it going to be carved out? Can you explain how that's going to work, please?
Yes, sir. Good question. Even though it is very close to the airport as far as the new aviation museum location, it's not going to fall within my purview as the airport manager. It's not included as part of the rules and regulations. The rules and regulations are really intended for what we call inside the fence operations or the airport operating area. So to answer your question, the restaurant or a restaurant, museum, all that would not fall within that.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for Mr. Hunsucker? All right. Thank you, sir. You've been here for a year, and that's the first time you've had to be before us. That's good. All right. This is a public hearing, and we have, looks like 4 public hearings this evening, so I'll explain the rules. We do allow anyone who would like to speak in regards to the public hearing the opportunity to be able to do that. First, we allow those who may want to speak in opposition to be able to do so, and then we allow those who may want to speak in favor to have the same opportunity for up to 15 minutes. If necessary, we will also allow up to 5 minutes for rebuttal and rebuttal. Once again, we ask that if you're going to speak, that you come to the podium and that you state your name and address. So at this time, I'll declare the public hearing open and ask if there's anyone present that would like to speak in opposition of the amendments, the proposed amendments to the Hickory City Code ordinance regarding aircraft and airports and approval of the rules and regulations. There doesn't appear to be anyone that would like to speak in opposition, so I'll ask if there's anyone present that would like to speak in favor. There being no one wishing to speak, I'll declare the public hearing closed and entertain any discussion or motion.
Move approval of the proposed amendments.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? All right, that carries unanimously. All right, for our second public hearing, once again, I'll turn it over to our city manager, Mr. Warmby.
Thank you, Mayor Guest. Second public hearing is consideration of the voluntary non-contiguous annexation of 1.85 acres of property located at 4147 River Road, Hickory, owned by River Park Properties Incorporated. It will be presented by Planning Director Brian Frazier.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Wood, Ms. Etzer. So as Mr. Wood stated, River Park Properties, Inc., voluntary, non-contiguous annexation. It's 4147 River Road, and this is basically for the most part, it's the previously approved Thornberry Village, which was originally approved by Planning Commission and/or Council back in the 90s. It started way before I got here, and basically the majority of the northern half of the project along River Road has already been completed. I'll get into that. So Councilman Freeman, it's in his ward, Ward 4. The current development is single-family homes known as Thornberry Village, and the future development is potential single-family planned development also. So it's already been the main properties, the large property has already been annexed into the city. It's already been rezoned years ago. So we're just talking about one small piece that will have a secondary access road through it, and it'll have, I believe, right now a total of 8 residential units as well as a mailbox kiosk. So on that one part that we're talking about tonight, both the annexation and my second presentation of the rezoning is only that one little piece of property that Mr. Wood mentioned, the 1.85 acres. So again, the annexation, of course, is being sought to gain access to public utilities, and in this case, just like the most of them that I bring before you, is sanitary sewer, and again, to provide that secondary access to the site. So here you can see the site in question, and this is the annexation area, and then over here you can see the city of Hickory city limits. It's pretty much surrounded by Catawba County zoning. The former Thornberry Village was this that is just about 90% built out, and it was also to include this as another phase. So this parcel and this parcel have already been annexed and rezoned as a planned development, and the applicants are looking at to annex first of all, and then rezone, which is my second presentation this evening, looking at annexing just this 1.85 acres, which will include 4 townhouses or a total of 8 dwelling units. The next picture, next slide is, again, this is the zoning. This is the proposed annexation area that's currently County R20, and this, even across on the other side of the stream, this and this is all PD. This is Thornberry Village. Below Saltwood Drive and on Saltwood Drive, this area will be known as Saltwood. It's basically the second phase of Thornberry Village. You can see US Highway 321 to the south. You can see River Road. This here is all, again, surrounded pretty much by County R20. There's some County R40 to the west, and to the north and east is City R1 zoning, which is low density. You can see here the aerial ortho. You can see the subject property again, 1.85 acres. This is Thornberry Village that's built out, and this here will be Saltwood. This is a separate parcel here that's already got dwelling units on it. That's not part of the program tonight or the project. So, staff findings and recommendation. Again, we believe the annexation petition of that 1.85 acres complies fully with all applicable annexation statutes of NCGS. Adequate public services are available in sufficient quantities. We're already serving Thornberry Village. And the annexation of the property will not cause available public services to fall below acceptable levels. Based on these findings, staff respectfully recommends approval of the requested annexation this evening. And I'd be happy to take any questions if council has any.
Any questions for Mr. Frazier?
Just one. What's below the panhandle of this? This makes kind of like a panhandle right there, the 1.85. What's below that panhandle? I guess it'd be south of that?
Let me see. Okay, so this is the parcel in question.
Straight down, straight towards you.
This is Thornberry, this is Thornberry, and this
That.
is not part of the project. This here is privately owned as its own tax map ID parcel, and I believe there's at least one residence
Okay.
on it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Frazier.
Thank you, sir.
I'll declare our second public hearing open and ask if there's anyone present that would like to speak in opposition of this annexation, voluntary annexation request you've just heard described by Mr. Frazier. There doesn't appear to be anyone that would like to speak in opposition. We have a representative this evening that would like to speak in favor, so I'll call upon, let's see, it's Dennis, and I can't quite read the last, Dennis Bizzato, okay? If you would, for the record, just state your name and address.
Dennis Bizzato with River Park Properties, 4498 8th Street Northeast, Naples, Florida.
Okay.
I'm here for any questions.
I don't know, anybody got any questions?
I don't.
Okay, we don't have any questions. You're welcome to add anything you would like.
Nothing else. I think this gentleman summed it all up very well for us. It really is just that small section there, trying to finish up a previous development that has remained unfinished since as early as the 90s, actually. So we're trying to wrap that up there. So it'd be great to be able to do so.
All right, thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor? There being no one desiring to speak, I'll declare the public hearing closed and entertain a discussion or motion.
I move approval of River Park Properties
Second.
All right,
annexation.
we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? That carries unanimously. Once again, I'll turn it over to our city manager, Mr. Warren Wood, to introduce our third public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor Guest. Third public hearing is consideration of rezoning petition 24-13 for property located at 4147 River Road from Catawba County R20 to City of Hickory Planned Development PD, presented by Planning Director, again, Brian Frazier.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so again, pretty much the exact same property. We're talking about the 1.85 acres. It was County R20. You've annexed it into the city. Appreciate that. And again, the background succinctly is the property is being rezoned to give the owner the opportunity to connect to city sewer, of course, and to access previously approved development to finish out this project that's been over 30 years in the making. So the request is to rezone that 1.85 acres of property that for this moment is County R20 to City of Hickory PD planned development. Again, the property in question, pretty much surrounded by low-density residential. Up here we have some industrial property. Again, this is 321 coming south and River Road coming south. This is Thornberry Village. This will be the new Saltwood, including this parcel here that they're looking at building 8 units on. It'll just sort of solidify this type of boundary and have less of a panhandle, as Councilman Woods stated. Again, this is the rezoning, city R1. You can see city IND, industrial. Pretty much all of this is county R20, some county R40. This is, again, Thornberry Village. This will be Saltwood. This is all an existing planned development. This is that 1.85 acres that we're adding onto it for a planned development. One thing that you'll see in this presentation, it's a little bit confusing, this doesn't happen too often. This had already been annexed and rezoned to PD, but we needed to see a new site plan for it because the vested rights had expired, I believe, back in the year 2000. And so, but the zoning, of course, once it's zoned, it stays zoned that way. So we're really not talking about anything in this area at all, just that 1.85 acres. Again, you can see the property in question on the aerial ortho. Ponderosa subdivisions up here, Hidden Creek to the south, 321 River Road, some farmland. So this Thornberry Village, there is just to the north, here's Saltwood. Just to the north is the existing Thornberry Village. That's an existing 66 units of housing. The proposed units for the new development, which you can see here, is a total of 119 units, 14 single family, which you can see here. This will be basically fronting Saltwood with Thornberry across the street. So this proposal will be totally in sync with what's across the street now. There won't be any townhomes here, but you'll see townhomes here in this area and along the water course. What you'll see, which we tried to, is the 8 units here. This is basically that 1.85 acre piece. This is the mailbox, kiosks, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 units, 4 structures totaling 8 units. So anything in the red box is within the area that you're looking to rezone tonight. So the Hickory by Choice plan classifies the area as low-density residential. Now, the plan, of course, was adopted back in 2010. We've updated it every year. Major revisions you've approved, readopted every 5. So this plan was approved before Hickory by Choice, but we still believe that its intended use is positive and is consistent. So the land use category is intended to provide an area of transition between higher density housing in Hickory and the surrounding rural areas by offering development at 2 to 4 units per acre. Now that would be if it was in the R2 zoning district. Since it's already a planned development, it can be a little higher. I mean, council could have it as much as 20 units an acre, but you've never approved that for at least as long as I've been here, nor have I recommended it. And I don't think anybody's come, and I know these gentlemen that are here tonight are not looking for that. So basically what you have is the planned development. It's designed for plus or minus 10 units an acre. And basically what's there now is give or take 8 units per acre, so you're not making that much of a jump in the PD. And again, the Hickory by Choice plan, it's intended, as you know, to be a dynamic document as revised as needed over time. And, when we've taken a look at recent census data, fully confirms our population workforce, as you know, is growing at a fairly significant rate. There is a clear and substantial need for additional housing units. These will be, in my understanding, market rate. Fully owner occupied, and it's a type of varied form, single family attached, single family detached, to accommodate the growing population and labor force of the city, the county, and the MSA. So the current zoning and use of the larger area around it is predominantly single family, basically Thornberry Village, attached and detached. The current district permits residential as the primary use. So the requested PD zoning for that 1.85 acre piece is just proposed to be consistent entirely with the document and with the new residential dwellings, both attached and detached. If it was apartments, then that would be a different story. But again, the density of the PDs are, of course, larger than the surrounding area, just about with every proposal. So we're looking at a density of plus or minus 10 units per acre now, and Thornberry Village is about 8 units per acre in its current form. So according to the plan, Hickory needs to accommodate a diverse housing stock to meet an increasingly diverse community demand. That demand is definitely there, as you can see upon what's going vertical and what's currently undergrading or infrastructure work now. So the recommended action is that council adopts a statement affirming the petition's consistency with the Hickory by Choice plan, and that the development of the property must adhere to regulations provided in the Land Development Code. They'll definitely have to come back to us as well as the county and the state for permits and a review. And respectfully forward a recommendation of approval at this time to Hickory City Council. And again, if there's any questions, I'm willing to try to address those.
Any questions for Mr. Frazier?
Do you happen to know, just out of curiosity, the price point of the unit?
I do not, Councilwoman Williams, maybe the developers behind me may have knowledge of that. I do not.
Here we go. He'll be up in a minute when we do the public hearing.
Well,
It's still too early to tell right now. It really depends on construction costs, obviously, and where we land with the development and the final application for it. We really are just in the zoning and annexation phase right now, so it's still a little too early to tell.
Any other questions for Mr. Frazier? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, at this time, I'll declare the public hearing open and ask if there's anyone present that would like to speak in opposition of the rezoning petition you've just heard described by Mr. Frazier. There doesn't appear to be anyone that would like to speak in opposition. Once again, the developer has signed up to speak in favor, and if he would like to do so, I'll allow him the opportunity to be able to do that.
Yet again, Mr. Frazier explained it very well. The project here, the intention was obviously to finish the existing plan development and tie in our product very well with what's existing right now. They do have a mix of single-family homes and townhomes, so we wanted to maintain the exact same feel and not change that at all, but really just add that additional access. That'll benefit not just our, obviously, development, but as well as existing Thornbury and the traffic issues and concerns there.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else present that would like to speak in favor? All right, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who would like to speak, so at this time I'll declare the public hearing closed and entertain discussion or motion.
move approval of the rezoning petition.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? That carries unanimously. For our fourth and final public hearing this evening, once again, I'll turn it over to our city manager, Mr. Warnwood.
Thank you, Mayor Guest. Fourth public hearing is consideration of the voluntary contiguous annexation of 7.32 acres of property located at 2958 Main Avenue Southeast Hickory, owned by Cascade Investment Properties LLC. It'll be presented by Planning Director Brian Frazier.
Thank you again, Mr. Wood. So, again, the applicant, as Mr. Wood indicated, is Cascade Investments Property LLC. The agent is Sierra Land Company LLC. Again, a voluntary annexation, 7.32 acres of currently vacant land in Councilman Seaver's third ward. Again, the current development is a vacant property, already zoned industrial, in the middle of a bunch of other property that's also zoned industrial. This future development will be an industrial-type petroleum refinery and recycling facility, and annexation is being sought to gain access to public utilities, in this case, sanitary sewer. And of course, this project will be coming back through my office and county offices and state DOT for review in the future. So you can see the property that we're talking about in the red hash, the annexation area. You can barely see down here in the bottom right-hand corner a little bit of Conover. Anything in blue is Hickory city limits. Anything in the yellowish color is City of Hickory ETJ. So we're talking Highland Avenue here. Of course, the orientation is to the north. And then you have Tate Boulevard here to the south. The zoning area in question this is all industrial. The property is currently industrial. There's industrial across the street. There is some very low density R1 to the north and a little bit to the east, but this is pretty much plop in the middle of the industrial area. Again, this is the aerial ortho photograph of the proposed properties. Here we had Profile Products. They have quite a trucking operation there. And then Ramsey Finishing is located here, just to get some perspective on where we're all at. So the voluntary annexation petition, we believe, complies with all applicable annexation statutes. Adequate public services are available according to our reviewing department heads, and the annexation of the property will not cause available public services to fall below current acceptable levels. And based on these findings, planning staff respectfully recommends approval of the requested annexation. And just for some additional information, basically the company, you'll see their trucks, they're pretty much all over the East Coast to just west of the Mississippi. They cover every state east of the Mississippi, and they're currently expanding their operation in North Carolina. The name of the company itself is Lone Wolf Petro. They basically will do petrochemical refining. They'll have some bulk tanks, fuel distribution, semi-truck parking, and then a semi-truck maintenance shop. All of that has to meet federal, state, and local requirements. But they also, a significant part of their operation is petroleum recycling. They'll take old gasoline, oil from your vehicles, large development waste products that are petroleum-based. They'll even take, used rubber, that kind of thing, to get that out of our waste stream. So they seem really good for the environment, and they've been good to deal with at this point. When I first heard, refinery, I'm thinking Houston, Texas. It's not going to be like that at all. And we've already talked to them about noise, glare, dust, hazards, and we'll still have to go through the process for that, but that'll be administered and reviewed at the administrative level with my staff, other departments, county, city. Environmental health probably will have DEQ getting involved with this as well, but they need to annex. They don't need to rezone because they're already within the city, and this use is permitted by right.
Do you know what type of investment it will be?
I do not. I apologize, we don't have that information yet. We're hoping to when they have their pre-application
Thank you.
meeting. That has yet to be scheduled.
It sounds significant, though,
Oh, yeah.
on that scale.
Mhm. We'll let the manager's office or in the manager's communication let you know what type of investment we're getting when we get an application.
Thank you.
They talk about how much traffic would be involved with tankers coming in and out.
That's something that we don't know at this time, but that'll have to be approved by our traffic division, public services under Steve Miller. Caroline Cohn will be looking at it, and state DOT would be looking at it as they'll be sitting on a state-maintained roadway.
Any other questions for Mr. Frazier? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, I'll declare our fourth and final public hearing open and ask if there's anyone present that would like to speak in opposition of the voluntary continuous annexation you've just heard described by Mr. Frazier. There doesn't appear to be anyone that would like to speak in opposition. I'll ask if there's anyone present that would like to speak in favor. There being no one desiring to speak, I'll declare the public hearing closed and entertain discussion or motion.
I move approval of the annexation.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? That carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is our appointments to boards and commissions. I'll ask if any member of council has any appointments they would like to make this evening.
I would like to make one for the Parks and Rec, that even though it's not showing on here as an opening, there is one, a recent resignation, so I'd like to nominate Nick Seeler as the representative from my ward.
And just as a matter of confirmation, our city clerk, Debbie, do we have anything pertaining to that confirms it? Okay. But we have a resignation on,
Yes.
okay, just to confirm that and get it on the record. All right, we have that appointment made, motion. Do we have any others?
I'd like to nominate Ryan Young as Ward 5 representative to the Recycling Advisory Board.
All right, Recycling Advisory Board, that one will do.
Advisory.
Yes,
Thank you.
all right.
I need help, you know that.
Okay. And I have one as well this evening, and he's actually present in the audience this evening. He was so enthused about his possibility of being appointed, he came tonight to make sure that we did it. So I would like to nominate Mr. Robert Hooks as an at-large representative on the Public Art Commission. Is there any others? All right, I'll make a motion that we accept all three of those appointments.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Those appointments carry unanimously. All right, any matters not on the agenda, sir?
No, sir.
All right, general comments. It seems like this year has really gone by quickly, and it's already time for Christmas again, so just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and safe holidays, and well, I guess at the adjournment of this meeting, we are going to have a closed session. I'll introduce that here in a minute, but just want to thank particularly all of our co-workers that are present for this past year and the tremendous job that each and every one of you and your fellow co-workers do routinely. We don't say it enough. We don't give you a pat on the back enough, but we certainly do appreciate it. I know as mayor and as council members, we hear from people daily about what great jobs and how fortunate we are to live in the city of Hickory, and a lot of that is attributed to the co-workers and the folks that are in this room and the folks that are not able to be here. So just make sure that you pass that on, and we do appreciate the job that you do every day.
I echo all your comments. Also, there's a new sculpture in Sally Fox Park. Beautiful butterfly.
Okay, I haven't seen that. I need to get by there and look at that.
Dedicated or commissioned, not commissioned, but unveiling, I presume, in the spring.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. Anybody else? All right. I'm going to make a motion that we go into closed session to approve the minutes from our closed session, minutes of December the 3rd, and also to consult with our attorney on some other matters. So I'll make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? All right, that carries unanimously. Thank you for being here. We'll reconvene after our closed session if necessary and take any action.